left my family. Remember when I said I was at home and my father said I didn't raise you this way?
Yeah.
So I was sitting up in my sister's house and we was drinking. I mean a lot. We was smoking an ounce of weed a day. I'm being straight up with you, you know. We was getting it in every single day. It's about a bag. It's not a whole lot. It's about a bag like this. You're gonna get it. It's a lot for a day, you know. But we was smoking and it was like, that's all we would do. You know, I got a job, I went to work and barely made it through that and came home because I couldn't get this mess that was going on in my mind out of my mind. Have you ever been in that position? Where you just want this to be free for a second.
Yeah.
And that's what he's talking about. And it was so crazy because I would listen to this song over and over and over again. Never listen to the words, but everything that he was saying, that's what I wish for people. Not only do I wish it for myself, because when you've been through some, you know what I'm saying? You don't wish that on nobody else. And anybody that can say they've been through a lot of the stuff that they say they've been through and go out and wish that on somebody else, to me, they ain't been through enough. Yeah. Because when you feel that mess, man, please, you like, no. I don't wish this on anybody, this pain on anybody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because the thing is this right here, and we talked about it earlier, that your mental state is always going to be a reflection of your physical state. Your mental state is always a reflection of your your physical state. So in essence, and we're going to talk about this in a second, what goes on out here is a reflection of what you're thinking in here. If you're screwed up in here, then it's going to mess all this up. Why is that? Because why is it that you can take person A, person B, you can give them the same resources, you can put them in the same condition, but person A is negative, person B is positive, and they see it differently? Why is that? Perception. Perception means the ability to interpret. Person A, person B that's negative is considered to be what? A pessimist, right? They say a pessimist is a person that always sees the cup half empty. That's what a pessimist is. An optimist is a person that always sees the cup half full. So the difference between the two is it doesn't matter what it looked like, I know where I'm headed. See, person B knows where they're headed. Person A is stuck in their funk. Does that make sense to everybody? And that's what's happening. So whenever you allow yourself to come down and get stuck in your funk, I'm going to give you a quick remedy. You know what it's called? A gratitude inventory. Gratitude. Because when we lose sight of gratitude, we get miserable. We get depressed. And no matter how bad we think our situation is, trust me, there's somebody out there 10 times worse. 10 times worse. You may say, well, I'm over here at the facility, I'm here, I'm doing this, but at the end of the day, you got food to eat, you got a roof over your head, you got assistants helping you to get better every single day. And there's a lot of people that don't have that. That wish to God that they had it. You see what I'm saying? And that's the way you have to look at it. So every day when you get up, and I tell this to my kids, I preach this to everybody, it's got to be about progress, excuse me. You see what I'm saying? You got to show movement of improvement, that you're moving toward your improvement. You coming in today saying, okay, I sat down, I went over there to the job fair, I found out about the Clerk 1 program. It directly aligns with what you want to do. When you go after what you want, it happens for you every single time. It happens every single time. It may not happen the moment we think it's going to happen, but trust me, it is impossible to do the right thing and get the wrong result. So with that being said, if a person thinks they're doing the right thing and getting the wrong result, that means that they're just not doing the right thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, because effort applied is effort applied. So that means that you want it, you desire it. But what we teach in success training is this right here. If you go after something in your life and it doesn't work out, all it means to do is take a step back, recalculate, readjust, and go back at it again. It doesn't mean to quit, because what makes a person a failure is when they quit. That's it. When they throw in the towel, when they stop moving. Because think about it, what is growth? Growth is life. Growth is elevation. Growth is evolution. It grows. If you watch a flower, it'll start from a seed, and it'll sprout, then it'll start to grow. It's making movement. Anything that's not moving in their life is dying. Simple as that. Simple as that. If you're not getting up every single day of your life and putting your mind to work toward becoming the person you were created to be, desire to be, want to be, and fighting to be, then you're dying. And have you ever seen a person that worked their whole life, retired, and died soon after? I've seen a few. And do you know one of the #1 reasons why? They stopped working. If you ever see some of the old folks, the elders, the ones that live a long time, what do they all have in common? They get up every morning and doing something with their life. I don't care if it's going out to the coffee shop, hooking up with the kids, the guys, going over to the senior center. You know what I'm saying? They playing dominoes, but they got a daily routine that they get up every single day and do. They don't sit on their bus and, oh, this may happen, oh, that. No, they're doing it. I was camping this weekend, and when I came out of my tent, it was early in the morning. It was an elderly white woman. She passed by me. She had her walking stuff on. She was stomping. You know what I mean? She was moving. But do you know what that showed me? A person that refused to die.
Yeah.
You see? Because here's the thing. We can't help but to get older, but that doesn't mean we have to get old. You see what I'm saying? Age is a part of the game. But when a person get old, that's when they, oh, my elbow, oh, my shoulder. You know what I'm saying? My hip, you know. My mother-in-law lived with us. And oh, my God, I probably shouldn't say this on tape. But for real. But she is, man, she complains about everything. If you wake up and say, my shoulder feeling bad, oh, mine too. You know what I'm saying?
One of them.
Yeah, for real. One of them people, right? But it's always constant complaining. Constant complaining. Now, I want to hit something, we're going to move on. But here's the thing. Negativity can only reproduce when there's negativity. You see what I'm saying? Have you ever been in an environment where you walked in, you was positive, and everybody else in the room was positive too? It's a totally different vibe, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a totally different feeling that you get when you walk in and everybody's positive. Why? Because death, which is negativity, a negative sign, right? When people die, what do? They flatline. So negativity is death. And whenever you think negative over your situation, what you're doing is you are producing death upon your situation. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You see? So whenever people do that, what they're doing is they're producing death in their situation where there's no possible way that it can be what they want it to be. You see, he said that I dream of a place where people can be what they want to be. But a dream is just a dream when you don't put what to it. What has to go with a dream? Say it again. Action. Action. If a person's not getting up every day putting action to it, then it's just a dream. So let's move on. What we're going to do is we're going to finish up the thought analysis from last week. We're almost done with that. A couple of things I want to hit on that. Then we're going to go into, according to the agenda, as you can see, then we're actually going to go into walk it back. We're going to talk about decisions, and then we're going to go through a crossroad exercise. And then from there, we're going to have a break. And then we're going to come into a concentration and a motivational message, stages of growth, and then we're going to design out our life. We're going to do PDL. And what I love so much about PDL is this right here. A lot of people feel like this is the hand that I was dealt, right? You hear it all the time. It is what it is. I just got to go with this. No, you don't. You can design any life you want. You can design any life you want. The big problem that we have, like I was saying earlier, is that here we are human beings, but nobody never took the time to teach us how we work. Because if you knew, let me ask you this question. If you knew when you was a kid that whatever you focus on, you will become, would you have done half of the stuff you did? If you knew with absolute certainty, going out in them streets and hanging with them people and doing what they're doing is going to turn me into somebody I do not desire to be, we all would have made a different decision. Now, don't get me wrong, we would have flirted with it a little bit now. Come on, don't lie, don't lie. We would have put our toe in the water. You know the reason why we all here right now? The reason? Give you a quick example. We're the kids that your mother said, don't touch that thing, it's hot.
Yeah.
And what we do the moment she turned up back.
Yep.
Ah! You know what I'm saying? Test the waters. We test the waters. That's what we do as people. You get what I'm saying? Okay, so pull out your thought analysis. Let's go to the page where we actually calculated it up. I want to get us through this, so we're going to have to run just a little bit. If I go too fast, guys, just slow me down, okay? Bullet points.
I didn't think all of us had completed the entire thought analysis. I think few of them haven't completed.
Oh, got it.
So you may want to check with.
Have you got Well,
It's in your file, the thought analysis.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Did you get through all the questions and add it up?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's go to that second page. And I had a 39%. I actually had 14 yeses and 36 no's, right? And 39%, basically what it states is that I have a 40% chance of reproducing the life in which I come from. Those undesirable conditions, reproducing it in my life. You know, as I said earlier, see, I was one of them type kids that wanted to test the waters. My parents taught me better, you know, but I wanted to test the waters. So what does that mean? We lived and grew up. It was cool area. You know, nobody outside at night, it was cool. But if you went 7 blocks, not even 7, if you went like 5 blocks over, we go into a neighborhood we call the panic zone. We nicknamed it that. Why? Because so much stuff happened. It's where the drug dealing happened and all the other stuff happens, right? But that's what fascinated us as a kid. So we always wanted to go down there and we called it the hood. I always wanted to go in the hood. So it was always testing the waters, but when I went in the hood, I would see certain things that I didn't see at home. You get me? I would go down and experience high rates of unemployment. I didn't see that in my house. When nobody hanging out at my house unemployed, my father wouldn't allow it, first and foremost. You know, that's just the type of dude he was. And it changed my perspective. So when I talked about my friends, it was like, yes, I was exposed to a lot of things with my friends that I wasn't exposed to, you know, at home, but that was all by choice. So basically, I was at 39%, like I said, and like I said earlier, you know, I was one of those type kids that, you know, just wanted to test the waters, you know, growing up. And it led to a lifestyle of pain. It was just painful. I'm not even gonna sit here in front. It was painful. You know, I wanted to date older women. I did. Remember when I told you my mother came and got me out the dope house? Well, the person that was running the dope house, and I'm gonna be 100% transparent right now, was one of my partner's mother that came on to me. I'm like 16 years old, 17 years old. But guess what? She had a brother looking nice. You know, I had the Gennaro watches, gold chains, you know what I'm saying? You know, I took advantage of it. You know, it was wrong. I'm not saying it was right, it was wrong, but I'm telling you how my thought process was so screwed up that I would even do something like that. You get me? I'll say it again.
What age?
I was like 17. I was in the 12th grade. Almost didn't graduate from high school fooling around with that stuff. You okay, sweetie? Okay, cool. Hang on in there with us. Fight. Almost didn't graduate from high school going through that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hanging out, and finally my mother just had all she could take, and she came down there and she got me. And that's the reason why I love helping women to this day. You get me? Because when daddy leaves, mama stays. And it's a painful job being there by yourself, fighting through the circumstances and situations and trying to keep a level head. It's painful. It is. My first day here, I'm sitting outside, a young lady passed by, baby, smaller than, but like this. I mean, she was on his helmet. Come on! Like, he got baby legs. He can't walk as fast as you. If you're in a hurry, pick him up. But do you see how the frustration and the pain and all this other stuff gets us in a position where we do certain things? And do you know one of the biggest issues that lead to child abuse with a lot of people is that when we tell our kids we're going to do something and don't follow through with it. You do that again, I'm going to whoop you, and we don't follow through. You do that again, I'm going to do this, and we don't follow through. And then we get to that day where we're fed up, right? And all they doing is taking advantage of the situation. You feel me? Like kids do. We did it. You see? And next thing you know, they own them. But they own them for all the wrong reasons. You see, I disciplined my kids all the way till they grow. Till they was old enough. I sure did. I didn't play that stuff because my daddy didn't do it for me. But it was done in a respectable way. When you mess up, you got to understand that there's a consequence that you got to pay. And once you pay the consequence, you clear with the house. My father used to whoop us and then say, you got to stay in the house. Man, I took the whooping so I don't have to stay in the house. You know? I don't know about y'all. When I was a kid, being outside was the thing. And I don't understand why kids don't do it today, but it was the thing. And to have to stay in the house, that was like a death sentence almost. But that's what, you know, but that's the reason I did that. And it's all about right now making sure that even in parenting, that we're making the right decisions. You get me? Because that one wrong decision can spoil everything. And nobody wants CPS in their house. Because once they come in your house, what happens?
They stay in your business.
They stay in your business. Why do they stay in your business? Is it really about the child mostly?
No.
What is it about?
Taking them away.
It's about making sure the child's safe.
Okay. So they say, but they dump them in the house where they don't even know where the child is, or they dump them in the house and somebody is worse off on the child than what was going on in their previous position.
Yeah.
So what is it really about? I'm not trying to put all of them there. Say it again.
Money.
Job security.
That's good, yeah.
If you don't have kids flow through the system, then they gonna look around and say, what we need all these people for?
Exactly. That's why they look for kids to
It's
take.
$25,000 in the state of California to adopt a child under the age 5.
See how that works? Hey, how you doing, Regina? You know,
Regina here.
it's job security for them. And the reason why I say this is because at the end of the day, we can have a choice that either we're going to replicate where we came from or we're going to become something different so we don't play into their hands. I told you when I came in, my job is to teach you how to win.
Do you think that's a form of slavery though, in a sense?
Absolutely. I think all of it is a form of oppression. And the reason being is because if it happens to one demographic of people more than another, that's called oppression. Oh yeah, I'm standing on that model. I mean, the thing is, and what I love so much is really about getting out here is because we need to know the truth. Because if we don't know, then we can't play. And if we can't play, then we fall victim to these jokers each and every day.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Victim.
Real.
And guess what they're doing? Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
Yeah.
Because we live in a world that has learned to monetize everything.
That's like everybody going to prison. They monetize
But the
everything.
system is.
Keep
Yes.
everybody in jail. Put them on probation. They're going to mess up and go back.
Let's take that to the next level. Prisons about 10 years ago became privatized where people started making and creating their own prisons. Prisons now is on the stock market. They are trading people like commodities.
Yeah.
Now that's
Now that's
gangster.
slavery.
That's
That's
gangster.
real slavery.
The 14th Amendment, what does the 13th Amendment states? It states that slavery in this country is abolished except for punishment of a crime. So that means that when a person go and commit a crime, or they say they committed a crime, then once they become a prisoner of the state, then they are a legal slave.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Okay, so let's go to the second page over here. And when I looked at this right here, it says, what behaviors do someone naturally develop growing up in this type of environment without control over their conscious mind? What is the conscious mind?
A knowing mind.
Say it again.
A knowing mind.
A knowing mind. It's the aware mind. It's the mind that you know what's going on. Would it be wrong if I state the majority of people do not use their conscious minds?
No.
It would be a correct statement because the majority of people do not use their conscious minds. You know how you know? From my personal experience, it didn't hit me till I heard this. Boom, boom. Oh man, how in the world? All of a sudden, you start replaying the whole situation in your mind. You get what I'm saying? And you're thinking about the things that you did wrong. Now, if I'd have made a right instead of a left, I wouldn't have ran into the police. You get what I'm saying? Instead of thinking, how did I get here? You see, instead of thinking that. No, we didn't do that because the majority of people don't use the conscious mind. Your conscious mind is your aware mind. It's your mind that helps you to analyze a situation and make the right decision. And we're going to talk about decisions today. That's what the conscious mind does. And the thing about it is we need to be conscious-minded at all times. Not sometime, but all the time. Does that make sense to everybody? Cool. So let's jump now to get on the right page, get on the right page. Flip, 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 flip. All right, so there's 18 things right here. Now I want everybody to point out at least one thing that when you was in your funk that you fell victim to. Okay, so it's 18 things right here. So I want everybody to point out at least one thing, speak on one thing that when they was growing up in their funk or in the mood or in the hood or in that thought process or in the life as they call it that they fell victim to. What is that one thing?
Number 9 for me.
Number 9, speak to it. Oh, you should have known I was going to ask.
I know. The time without labor. I didn't have no chores. I didn't have to do nothing.
Okay, so on the thought analysis where it states where you not required, you are
I had to do nothing.
Yes, Dad.
I was daddy's little princess. I was. My dad got 12 kids. I'm the only one that got his last name.
Wow.
I'm the only one he took literally from the hospital.
I can see you rubbing that in too.
Yes, and I rubbed it well.
I can see it.
My mom was incarcerated. That was my number one. I never met my mom. I had those new Jordans. I was that girl.
Okay. So entitlement without labor. What's one, Vita? What you got?
Growing up as a kid?
What number is that?
No, I'm asking you that. Is this what you're saying?
Yeah. Which one? So basically, what I want you to do is just pick one thing that, you know, when we was out in the world, out in the life, that you fell victim to.
Oh, when I was out in the life?
Yes.
Number 16.
Okay, so number 16, no purpose, right? Same for you, no purpose. But let me ask a question. How can a person have a purpose if they didn't know they were supposed to have one?
I knew I was supposed to have a purpose. I did have a purpose. But
Talk to me.
it's just that my father had passed away. I had got caught up with drugs. And it was just, man. The
Open
drugs
season.
overtook everything.
Got it.
My kids, my life, everything. It's like I didn't have no. But I always have the thought in the back of my head, like about my kids, about my family, and all that. But I was just too strung out to where I couldn't.
You know, and that's interesting right there, is that I said earlier that when I was out there, my friends started calling me Blackheart. My buddies started calling me Blackheart when I was out there because they said you don't care about nothing. It wasn't that I didn't care about nothing. It was that I purposely became that person so I don't have to deal with the pain of not being the man to my children that I was supposed to be. You see, it's interesting how we find coping mechanisms, right? Something to help us cope in a bad situation. And that was just it for me. So drinking, becoming an alcoholic, heavy drinking, was one of my coping mechanisms. I would drink, why? So that I don't have to think about it. And I had this false sense of everything was going to be all right when I'm under the influence, knowing that it was not. And the same problems that was present before I got drunk was either present or if not worse when I came out of my stupor, especially days I woke up in jail.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So for me, you said yours was also no purpose. For me, I actually did all of them. All of them. When I was out there, man, procrastinating, it was it. Because everybody that I was around, including my parents, they wasn't operating in their purpose. They were doing what they felt like they had to do, working jobs you can look in their eyes and tell they didn't care about. But they got up and did it, why? So that they could feed us. You know, I grew up in that. And lying, I wanted these 2 points, and lying starts with ourselves first. You got to lie to yourself before you lie to anybody else.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Because when we don't lie to ourselves, we tell people the truth. You know, we stand on who we are. We ain't got to conform nor try to become anything that somebody else wants us to be. Period. Because you said even though you was in your funk, right? That thought was still in the back of your head. You see where I'm coming from? And when that thought was in my head, you know how I overcame it? With a lie. Oh, it's going to be all right. It's going to all come together, right? It never did. Because it can't come together until I come together. Say that again? What's that?
Because I hear both of y'all, right? It makes sense. Not for my personal business, but my mom. I wonder, did my mom have that back in her head? You see what I'm saying? But then you talk about the lie. My mama would tell me what happened at my birthday, and only birthday she been to is when she gave me life. You know what I'm saying?
And she will tell you what happened at her birthday.
In 2018, she'll tell me, oh, you remember that time when I helped you ride a bike or tie your shoe? And I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to.
Yeah.
So I lied with her.
Wow.
Big fun.
That's
My mama been in. My mama used to rob banks out here. She been locked up. She got locked up. She was robbing banks like in the early 80s. Got caught in like 89. You feel me?
Yeah.
So she did her year. She did her time in Chachilla. She just got off parole and everything. But it's a mental thing. Like maybe it's like that. She missed so much. She kind of. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. The thing is that I'm rationalizing in my mind what actual direction to take. Because see, the thing is that, you know, when you go along with her,
I'm not helping, I know that.
you're not helping. That's called an enabler.
Right.
That's an
But then I feel
enabler.
like the mean girl. If I be like, yeah, I don't lie, or if I be like, nah, mama, you was it's a sound man all around.
But here's the
But
thing.
anyway.
It's only mean to me when it has ill intent. You see, if we tell somebody something because we love them, and it's coming from love, and I want to make sure that you become better, that you get better, then it's not me because it's not coming from a nasty place.
Not what you say is how you say it.
Exactly. But if it's coming from a place like, oh, you know you wasn't there because you still in pain because mama was missing,
Right.
then that's gonna come
I'm
off
over it. My little
nasty.
sister let her have the blues. I'm over it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And I'm gonna be straight up with you. That's life. That's life. You know, I'm gonna say this very quickly, and this is what I tell men, particularly. Here's the deal. The deal is that if you wasn't in your child's life, then you need to step up and go to that child and apologize. That's what you need to do. You need to be a man and go there, look them in the eyes, because it's what I did. I apologized to all my children. I looked them in the eyes and I apologized for being that low self-esteem, worthless individual that was a terrible example to them.
I think that's why my kids respect me and still acknowledge me as their mother today.
Of course.
Because I did that.
Of course.
And me and my
I
sister
course.
still waiting.
I
I'm in our
honestly think
30s.
that. Now, if I had came back out of my addiction and just act like all them years it never happened, or it just, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just.
Like you just looking right over their feelings.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
I think it'd be a totally different. I wouldn't have no relationship at all.
Exactly.
And the type of relationship that I have with my kids, you wouldn't even be able to tell that I was gone from my daughter till she was like 8, 9 years old. My oldest son till he was about 5 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
My third son, Eric, I left with him when he was 5.
Uh-huh.
But then my baby, I've been with him since I have. But you wouldn't even be able to tell that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But here's the powerful part about it is, my thought process with my mother is that mama can make a way out of no way. You see what I'm saying? And how did I get that thought process? How did I think this way about my mother? Because I watched her overcome situations. It's not about what you go through, it's about how you handle it when you come out. We go through some things in life and it's gonna hurt. But guess what? When you come out of something as a parent and you battle back and you there in your child's life and they keep saying, go away, go away, go away, you got to keep showing up. You got to show up to every game. You got to show up to every birthday party. You got to show up to every situation. Every time they look up, they need to see you on the sideline rooting for them, rooting for them, rooting for them. Even though they're telling you to get away, get away, get away, get away. Because all they're looking for is consistency. That's it. And when you show consistency, they're going to break. Just like everybody eventually do, they break. Dad, I'm sorry I treated you like that. I was just in pain. You get what I'm saying? And they let it out. But that's a relationship going forward because no child was meant to be on this earth without a father. Even if their father passed away in the neighborhood, what would happen? Another man would step up. Why? Because that child needs to know that it's protected. It needs to know that there's a man in my life that I can go to that has masculine energy. I'm being straight up. Masculine energy. I'm not talking about a boy. I'm talking about a man. A man means meeting all needs. That has masculine energy that they can go to and they can say this is what's going on and they can give them some real proper guidance and instruction.
That's so like, nowadays that don't even be happening. Like, uncles gonna be uncles, aunts gonna be aunts, grandmothers.
It don't.
Everybody's just doing their own thing.
It don't.
They show up at the funeral.
Yep. And then they got that speech, right? We all need to come together.
Yeah.
And then after the funeral, you don't even see these people no more. Everybody gone.
Me and my family friends on Facebook, that's enough.
But see, but here's the deal though, right? Why are we having this conversation? Because all conversations happen for a reason. We can choose. See, we're going into designing our life today, right? So we can choose what life we want. We can choose how we want to be with our children. We can choose what we want to have in this world. It's a choice. It is a choice. And when you make that choice and you stick with that choice, come hell or high water, don't quit, it's going to happen for you every single time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so let's jump on for time's sake. Let me check time. It's all a choice. So now let's go to walk it back. It's all a choice, guys.
Where our paper for that?
It's in your folder. It should say walk it back on the top.
Oh,
That's the only thing. What's the papers from last
If you
week?
don't have a copy, I'll give one to you.
Thank you.
It says walk it back.
So I got some notes.
Do you have that?
And I want to hit these things because it's important that we go over this before we get into development. Always remember that life is a choice, and no matter how hard it looks, it's a choice. Some of our situations is different than others. Some of our situations is going to cause us to have to fight with everything we have. I told you, there was days I cried like a baby, and I'm being real with you. It was. You know, I cried. Man, we was driving the car so beat up, no muffler on it, woo, 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 tired. You know what I'm saying? I'm being 100. It was bad. We lived in Richmond in the hood where they was turning tricks in my front yard. That's how much they don't care down here.
Hell nah.
50 McDonald. And if anybody know anything about Richmond,
on 21st.
McDonald is not the spot.
At all.
You see what I'm at night? Bah, 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 bah. But see, the thing about it was, here's the difference. The difference was when I was living on 50 McDonald, I was getting my mind right. Like Master P said, you got to get your mind right. When you get your mind right, you come to understand that all this is mine and mine is all of this. See, I'm going to talk about it in a second, but I do not live in the physical world. I live within my mind. That's the difference. A lot of people live in the physical world. You know how you know when a person lives in the physical world?
yeah.
Because every little thing pisses them off. They cluck it. Everybody look, they cluck it. Why? Because what's out here? Look around.
That's true too.
Look around. All you see is what? Doom and gloom and destruction and mayhem and chaos. Every little thing. When you come outside of yourself, when people you say, you must be outside of yourself today, right? We used to say that. When you come outside of yourself, it happens. And I'm going to show you why right now. So in Walk It Back, I want to read these first lines. What a person have in this world is determined by what they do consistently. What they do is determined by what they believe consistently. What they believe is determined by what they think consistently. And what they think consistently is determined by their perception. Their perception of themselves, their environment, surroundings, what they learned, how they were treated, or their feelings growing up, right? What they saw and experienced a lot growing up. Perception. What does the word perception mean? Let's go there, because I love to break down words, because it's important when you break down words, things start to make more sense. It goes right here. Perception means a way of regarding, understanding, or interpreting. Interpret. Listen to the word interpret, right? Something, a mental impression, or the ability to see, hear, become aware of something through the senses. So perception means to interpret.
That's what I'd be like, that was my perception of what you, like, you could say something, but that's
Say it.
what I got out of it.
Say it.
That's my perception.
We can open up the Bible. Bow, plop it on the table, read one scripture, and everybody in here can have a different perception of what that means. You start to see what I'm saying? Perception. So here's the thing. There was some people, hey, Jessica, and Shannon, excuse me, ladies. There was some people in the world that seen it one way, there's some people that see it the other. So what does that mean? A, negative, B, positive. B has a positive perception. What does that mean? That no matter what happens to B gonna make it. You see? When I know that you're going to make it, things always work out. Things always work out. I'm here to tell you the truth about this thing called mind. When you know you're going to make it, it works out. Why? Because you can only be in this world who you are. And whatever you are, you will be. You will receive. If I walk around negative all the time, what comes to a negative person?
Nothing.
Nothing, because negativity is death. By its nature, it's death. So everything that you get from phone calls you receive early in the morning, you can't even get out of bed. And you're already going to help it.
Already in the morning.
Early in the morning. Hey, here's a rule. He or she that wins the first hour of the day wins the day.
Yep.
Say it again.
He or she that wins the first hour of the day wins the day. What does that mean? That means that when I get out of bed at 5:30 in the morning, the first thing I do is meditate. I pray. I envision what I want to happen. What I know is going to happen. I envision the person that I am and the person that I'm becoming. I wrap my mind around that. And then once I'm finished meditating, I go work out. And when I finish working out, I take a shower. And then I hit my day doing what? Fighting to become that person.
I love it.
Can you give me that one more time?
He or she that wins the first hour of the day wins the day. So what that means is that if you got girlfriends calling you first thing in the morning, you have to skip. Get your mind right first, because I guarantee the more you start getting your mind right in the morning, the more you're going to put skip on that call. Girl, don't call. And then you're going to get to a point where what? The first form of thought take is words. You're going to start telling them. You're going to start thinking about it like, man, I just don't want her calling me this early in the morning with that boy. You just said it earlier, right? With that boy. And then before long, you're going to have all you can take, and then what you going to say? Girl, don't call me in the morning with that. No disrespect, but I'm thinking positive. I want more of my life. Don't call me in the morning with that. Why? Because if that's the first thing on your mind in the morning, it's going to say it again.
And she's like, girl, what's wrong with you?
It's going to set the tone. And then we go through the day, didn't accomplish anything, and we wonder how it happened. You ever woke up in your life? Well, the day before you went to sleep, you went to bed saying, I'm going to get up in the morning, I'm going to do boom, boom, and boom. You ever get to the end of that day and realize you haven't done nothing? And that never happened?
Yes.
It happens to all of us. Because somewhere along the line we got distracted. You see what I'm saying? We're going to talk about the law of energy, which means energy focused in a given direction means the disappearance of energy in another place. So what does that mean? Everything takes energy to grow. If my day is going to be prosperous, that means I must be focusing on my day. And if I'm focusing on my day, then I'm giving the things that I want to do energy in order for it to live. It has to manifest. It has to be birthed. So what does that mean? If I got a list of 5 things and I say I'm going to accomplish this, and this, in order for me to accomplish that in the physical world, I have to give birth to it. Does that make sense? So the first place of giving birth is giving it energy or focus. So when I focus on it and say, okay, great. Number 1, I'm on it. I go work it until it's done. Number 2, I'm on it. I go work it until it's done. Of course, prioritize now. You want to have your list in order, because if you don't get to all 5, at least you got the important things done, right? So number 2, I'm on it. You give it energy. But what happens if I start number 2? I get a phone call. It throws off everything. Now I'm like this. For real? So what happened to my energy?
You ain't focused.
Now, guess what I just gave birth to? For real? Because I'm focusing on for real. And now I told everybody about for real. You get what I'm saying? And then I get to the end of my day, and the things that I was supposed to give birth to and do did not get done.
Right.
Okay, so I just read perception to you, right? Here's the deal. The deal is, I'm going to pull it up on the screen real quick. I want you guys to see this. Here's the problem that a lot of people have. Remember when I said earlier that we were not taught? Oh, y'all see my picture when I had hair on my head?
I didn't see that.
Hold on. How do you go back? Go back. It'll...
Yeah, dreads, like everybody.
Nah, I just had a little...
We had a process.
Little wave up there. Little problem. 70s baby. I just had a perm.
I believe you.
When I was in high school, we wore perms. It was the thing.
You didn't have Jerry curls out here?
Oh man, I'm from Cleveland. Of course I had a Jerry curl.
But you know what? That's funny. When I was in Ohio, all them niggas got perms.
Girl, yeah, it went from
Everybody.
that's
Everybody.
the thing.
Everybody like had Williams wearing church shoes Monday through Sunday.
Oh.
What's wrong with y'all?
Is you from Cleveland or Georgia?
I was born in Cleveland. I stayed in Cleveland till I was 12 years old, and then we moved to Georgia. My parents is from Georgia. So I always say Georgia because Georgia is where I developed. Yeah.
I have to test you out.
No. nah, baby.
Now that is some kind of code.
And you know what? Test me out. Ask as many questions as you like. Because what I'm not going to do is lie to you. That is not going to happen. I lose all my credibility up in here. Like, get this joker out of here.
Oh, I thought you were gonna show some weed. I'm in here.
Oh, no. I can't pull it back. It was just like a little lady deal. Okay, so here's the deal. So I said, what a person have in this world is determined by what they think, what they do consistently. What they do is determined by what they believe consistently. What a person believes is determined by what they think consistently, and what a person think is consistent. What a person think consistently is determined by their perception or their interpretation. You see, interpretation is basically learned behavior. I'm gonna give you an example of that in 1 second. But here's the thing. The thing is that this is backwards. This is backwards. If I start with what I have, there was a whole host of things that happened before I got to have. You see what I'm saying? It's backwards. And the majority of people start off by saying what? I want a car. I want this.
I get it.
There's always a cry to want, but there's never a cry to do.
So you gotta think it, believe it, do it, and then you're gonna have it.
Exactly. It's backwards. What a person thinks consistently determines what they believe. What they believe consistently determines what they do. What they do consistently determines what they have.
Gotcha.
The majority of us were taught to live from the outside in. That is the problem. And that is the reason why so many things affect us. But when you live from the outside in, you live a very insecure life. Why? Because there's always somebody chipping away at you. There's always somebody trying to tell you who you're not, what you're not gonna be, and you just like your deadbeat daddy, and you get what I'm saying? There's always somebody. And so when we live from the outside in, that means that those things determine how we are affected. Let me give it to you like this. Harmony means the ability to determine for yourself how internal and external influences affect you. I determine it for myself. You can call me out of my name right now. I'm going to determine how that affect me. I ain't going to flash off on you. Because if flashing off on you is the wrong decision, then I'm living in my emotion. And we're going to talk about decision. That goes into decisions, right? Because the best decisions are made with logic and emotion. That means it is thought through. Just because the boss come at you sideways and we live in our emotion, what happens? It's going to be bad, right? It's going to be bad, and you might get fired. But let's think about it. If you get fired, who's affected? Who's affected? If you get fired, who gets affected? Who else?
Your livelihood. Everything.
And how pissed off do we get after the fact once we done fired off on this person, we get home, we got to look our kids in the eye and tell them it's a bad situation. Then we thinking to ourselves like, I shouldn't have did that.
Right. I shouldn't have said that.
I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have let them push my buttons like that. So here's the deal. The majority of people were taught to live from the outside in. But the truth is you're supposed to live from the inside out. You see? Because in order to, if you think from the have perspective, this is the big problem. What is present tense? When do they tell you present tense happen? When you're doing something, right? So right now, this will be considered present tense, right?
Correct.
It's not true.
Why?
Because what I'm doing right now is a playback. I've already studied this material over and over again. I created the material. I've already envisioned this day of getting here doing what I need to do. So if everything in life is a thought manifested or manifests from a thought, then where does present tense truly happen? Here. Because by the time you have it in your hand, you have already thought about it. You have already convinced yourself to believe it. You've already performed every action and function that's required to what? Have it. So how can present tense happen when you go sit in the car? Because trust me, if you don't have a job, if you don't have that money, you're going to sit down and you're going to get up and exit the dealership without a car. Does that make sense? Or access to money soon, because they know how to get you nowadays, right? Put you on these balloon payments and all this other stuff. So, let me check the time real quick. So that's basically what we're talking about right there. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so let's jump to the example down here very quick. If all a person saw and experience was bad things throughout their years, how can they perceive or have the interpretation that the world is a beautiful, prosperous place? How?
They can't. Somebody will have to show them.
Exactly. They have to experience it. They have to be taught. You see what I'm saying?
They have to be taught, or else they don't experience that it's a place full of bad things.
Yeah. So they're going to recreate what?
What they've been seeing, what they saw.
Talk about it. Talk about it. So we talked earlier about the world being what it is. Poverty is man-made.
Show.
Poverty is man-made. You know how you know? Because you got the Walmart sisters and brothers always sitting at Forbes' richest people on the planet. And you got people at Walmart can't even afford to pay their bills. That's how you know. How in the world do they got all this money and these people can't afford to pay their bills? If it was square biz and I'm looking out for you and I'm making sure that you right, then you wouldn't have no trouble paying your bills. I wouldn't stop you at 25, 30 hours so I don't have to pay benefits.
Yeah.
You start to see what's going on? This is the world that you live in. But if you do not know how to play the game, then you will lose.
Man.
You see what I'm saying? You will lose. If I can put you in a position, because here's the thing, ghettos didn't start here in America. Do you know what ghettos started?
Where?
Ghettos was an experimentation that Hitler pulled on the Jews. See, when you don't do research, you fall into something and you don't know what's going on. It was an experiment that Hitler pulled on the Jews. Ghettos was in Germany first. They put them in slum, they put them in squalor, they put them in all these bad positions. They withheld resources from them. Why? Because if you put a person in scum, squalor, withhold resources, it's nothing but a matter of time before they determine what? A dog-eat-dog mentality. That was an experiment done on rats. And as long as they had, there was a daddy rat, a mama rat, and a baby rat. Look up the rat experiment. And as long as they fed them, everything was fine. They took that food away, and it was open season.
They just eat each other.
They start eating each other.
They eat each other.
Survival.
They implode.
Survival of the fittest.
Exactly. Exactly. That's how it all happens. But here's the thing. If you don't understand the mind, then it's easy because all I got to do is take away what you think you're supposed to have.
Right.
Because you're living from the outside in. You don't understand it. Hey, my life is nothing but a thought manifested. It doesn't matter what they take away. The only thing that matters is what I believe.
Man.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's what I believe. It doesn't matter what situation I'm in. It doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what other people do. The true power is in me. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. Let's keep reading. Let's go down to the senses. The senses are the faculty. I'm going to give y'all a break in a few seconds. The senses are the faculty by which the body perceives an external stimuli. So the way we interpret, get this right here, external stimuli, is by our senses.
I was just playing with him. I was even talking. Back to what you were saying.
Okay, so basically, the senses are a faculty by which the body perceives an external stimuli. One of the faculties of sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch. Now, let's understand what a faculty is. Go low, a little bit lower. A faculty is an inherent mental or physical power. What does inherent mean? Inherent means, and I should just go down right here so you can see it on the big screen too.
Is that like when you inherit something like
I'm
that?
gonna break it down. So inherent means existing in something as a permanent, essential, or characteristic attribute. Inherent means intrinsic, belonging, naturally, essential. Inherent means innate and born, natural. Natural. It is a natural power that you have.
So is that like when they say you inherit that from your mother?
Right. Is it the
Is
same
that the
thing?
same thing?
Inherit and inherit is two different words.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you inherit something, it's something that was given to you by somebody else.
Okay.
So whether it's a lot of us say you inherit it because of I won't say an action. You know what I'm saying? People children act a certain way.
Right.
They behave a certain way. They move a certain way, and you can see it on the parent, right?
Right.
See, I think that's called conformity. Because see, the greatest tragedy in the world to me, it's not cowardness, it's conformity. Because
That's
the majority of
not
people
his
conform. No.
Okay.
Inherent just means existing in something as a permanent, essential characteristic or characteristic attribute, right? It means intrinsic. It means within you, okay? Get some water, get some water.
It's good for you.
Absolutely. So here's the deal, right here. So this is what's powerful about it. It's a power that's within you. Now the question I always ask, if we have an inherent natural power in us, a mental and physical power in us, why does the majority of people feel powerless? Why? I said earlier, what you don't know you have is useless. You can have $1 million right now in your name, but if you don't know it's in your name, if you don't know where it's located, if you don't know how to access it, well, we knew it exists, we'll learn how to access it, right? So if we don't know it exists, it's useless. It's of no good. Do you guys ever go online and check your name and the lost money thing online?
Yeah.
Of course, because these people are taking money from somewhere somehow and they put it in this thing and they don't ever notify you that they have it, right? You have to go check. And the only way you're going to know it exists until you check or you're taught or you're told. You see, my job here is to teach you. Because let's go down. Perception is used to form your mental impression, your idea, conception, notion, thought, belief, judgment, and estimation. So if your impression or your perception or your interpretation of the world is thrown off because of what you experience, and nobody never taught you that, hey, if you stick to that experience, this is what you're going to create. And you have the power within you to recreate yourself and do something different. If nobody never taught you that, then that perception is what's going to be used to determine all these things. So here's the thing. If all a person was taught how to be as a criminal, then what type of ideas are they going to have? Criminal. Does that make sense?
Right, literally.
You see, what type of thoughts are they going to have? Criminal. They're going to have a belief that they can what? Get away with it. And the majority of people do until what? They get caught. Let's jump down real quick right here. True education means to induce. Education was never about sitting you down in a room and spilling facts and all this stuff on you all day long. That is not education, that is indoctrination. That is not education, that is indoctrination. There's a difference. If I sit you down and I never help to determine who you are, if I never help you to mold and shape your dreams, your thoughts, your desire, your passion, then what am I really doing?
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you who I want you to be. If all I teach you, and I'm just going to be 100 with it right now, we go to school as an African American. I went to school as an African. I don't like the American thing, but that's another story. As an African, I went to school for 12 years throughout high school. They taught me 1 month about myself and people that look like me, and the rest of the months about them. I went to a majority white school. You starting to see what I'm saying? Here's the deal. So when you do the math, what does that mean? That means that if I look at school as a calendar year for numbers' sake, they taught me 11 years about them and 1 year about me, and that's supposed to be education? That is not education, that is indoctrination, because true education means to induce. And what does induce mean? Induce means to call forth or to bring about by influence or stimulation. What does it say on Friday? Stimulate your mind, man. You remember that? You ain't got nothing to do. I'm just here to stimulate your mind, that's all. Because here's the thing, to cause the formation of, what are we talking about here? Who you are. That's what true education is about. It's not about all this other stuff, man. It's not. Do any of you know the law of cause and effect? Okay. So, what the law of cause and effect states is that for every cause, there's an equal effect. I'm just going to paraphrase. For every cause, there's an effect. So basically, everything that happens in your life, something caused it to happen. It just didn't pop out of the blue. You starting to see what I'm saying? So basically, negativity will always reproduce negativity. Positivity will always reproduce positivity. Every single time. It is the divine design. Everything is designed to reproduce after its kind in this world. You see, when you know these laws, then now you can follow them. What does that mean? That means that if I want to have a positive experience with my children, I must wake up every day and be what? I must do the work to be what? Positive. So that means shaking some of these busters off. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you got to do like on football. You got to do your spin move. You got to shake them off because they're coming. Especially if you're used to entertaining it. You see, when we first make that change and we've been entertaining this negativity, you get what I'm saying? We first make that change. Here's the deal. The deal is that the same flow of people are going to continuously keep coming. You have to make a change to determine if you're going to keep entertaining that or not. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, cool. And let's go ahead and we're going to take a 10-minute break and then we're going to come back and jump back in. Yep.
Okay.
Do we keep these?
Keep everything.
That candy, girl. I was talking and then it just slid down like somewhere.
Oh, God.
It wasn't stuck. It just, I don't know I don't know what it did, but it did something it wasn't supposed to. I was like, I got to get up. I had to do one of those choking calls, like.
Crack this door a little bit, okay?
Yeah, I think we should have left it. I should have left it open. The kid baked up.
Yeah!
No air, so
I don't know, Mom.
We got some. We can hold it.
Right, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. She breathing better, moving better.
get the camera.
She don't let me get that. Let me get that.
Bacon up in here. I don't know what's going on today.
There's no air circulation.
What's that, chocolate?
Air doesn't flow.
Oh, one of them fans on for you. That's
No,
supposed to
this
be loud.
natural air. Oh, just open this thing. I'll just open this. This thing is a lock.
Is Lakeisha here today?
No, she's. Who you're talking about? Which Lakeisha? Lewis or Spencer?
I don't know the last name.
The one who's doing the track?
No.
Yeah, Lewis? No, she's not.
Oh.